Now here we are considering Gauss law is the advancement over Coulomb's law. It can be applied for the static discrete charges or continuous charge distribution and even for the charge moving with constant velocity. Okay, so let us consider a single point charge here, and around it let us construct a imaginary spherical surface keeping this point charge at the center. Now what is the purpose of such surface? Here we want to check what is the flux of the electric field line coming out of this symmetrical geometrical surface. Now the single point charge could emanate electric field in all possible directions, and we can account for this electric field coming from this point charge. So it is like the light thrown by the bulb in all possible direction on spherical wavefront. And that is precisely the reason to place imaginary spherical surface around the point charge to account for the entire flux of the electric field coming out of this surface. And such surface is called as the Gaussian surface. And it comes with a regular geometry, like in this case, it is a spherical geometry. We are accounting for it. Now, Gauss law comes in two formats. First is the integral format you could see over here. Okay. Now, here we could see that the charge is enclosed and over here the Gaussian sphere is constructed. So all the electric field lines are along the radial lines. And when we look at the surface element, it is showing the ds bar, that a normal vector along the direction of the E bar. So when we write our Gauss law in an integral format, it is a very simple closed surface integral of E bar dot ds bar, okay, could be written as Q enclosed over epsilon naught. Now when we apply divergence theorem to this volume V, so we are applying divergence theorem here with reference to same Gaussian enclosure. So we could write that surface integral of E bar dot ds bar in terms of volume integral divergence of E bar d tau. And we could write enclosed charge as the volume integral taken over for the charge density, volume charge density. And when we combine these two expressions together as per the Gauss law mentioned here in the integral format, then it could hold for any arbitrary volume. So we could equate our integrands, right? And we are getting the differential format of the Gauss law as divergence of E bar is equal to rho over epsilon naught. Now we are doing the derivation of Gauss law for the point charge. Let us consider point charge plus Q in vacuum or in air. Then using Coulomb's law, we could state electric field at distance capital R, which is given as E bar is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q over R square and multiply by R cap to give us the direction of the electric field. And correspondingly, electric field flux could be defined as phi is equal to surface integrals of over the sphere created by using capital R as the radius and charge at the center, and it is evaluated for E bar dot ds bar. Then we can go ahead with this particular flux expression, and we are making solution for the E bar from the earlier expression. Okay, now we could check that this particular E bar at the distance R, it's a constant. It's a constant. So we can pull out this particular E bar out of the surface integral, keeping only direction R cap inside. And we could write ds bar, that is the surface element or normal vector, as ds multiplied by normal vector n cap. Okay. So when we are evaluating dot product of R cap and n cap, it gives us answer 1, because the angle between R cap and N cap is 0. So when we are evaluating this particular surface integral over ds, we are going to get 4 pi capital R square because this is the area of the sphere. And when we combine this together, we are getting final answer flux is equal to Q over epsilon naught. So equating this expression 2 with the expression 1 for the flux in terms of surface integral, we could find that whatever statement we are arriving at is called as the Gauss law. The flux which is evaluated over the surface area is equal to charge enclosed over epsilon naught for the vacuum or for the air.